The language of symbols. Here in the desert, everything becomes a symbol. Behind the large mounds of residue created in the drive for profit lies a deserted salitrera, Humberstone. A ghost town, it was abandoned nearly half a century ago. All that remains is the wind and the silence. A silence in which the breath of the past can sometimes be heard. Emptiness enframed by rusting corrugated iron. Row upon row of once whitewashed houses. After the works closed down, decay took over. In Humberstone too, the march of time cannot be halted. But despite the decay, memories live on, clear as day in the minds and eyes of the elderly. How many years have passed since our school days? So many. Yet it seems like only yesterday that we were sitting at our desks. Laura, Matteo, Luis, Rosaria, and I. Amongst the elderly, I have become old. And the young see us as old. Like many saltpeter mines, in 1960 the Humberstone Salitrera was shut down. The deserted settlement was left to the wind and earthquakes. Humberstone was founded in 1872 by the Peruvian Nitrate Company. Originally, it was called La Palma. The saltpeter boom attracted men and women into the desert. They moved into the ghetto of the saltpeter town as if it were the promised land. Workers weren't drawn here by the beautiful nights in the Pampa as extolled by Pablo Neruda, but because the new La Palma Salitrera offered employment and free lodging, just like the nearby Oficina Santa Laura. Progress. In 1934, electricity came to the settlement and the houses were modernized. La Palma was now called Santiago Humberstone in honor of an Englishman who had improved the industrial processing of nitrate. Humberstone, a settlement where the lives of over 3,500 people were lived out in standardized houses. The desert settlement imitated a town and urban life. Great importance was attached to order. The areas for married and single workers were kept strictly separate. Human destinies behind corrugated iron walls. Families were allocated houses with a courtyard. White-collar employees lived in different quarters from the ordinary workers. Naturally, there was a market and a hospital, and a church for baptisms, which were frequent, and no doubt for confession too. For the 400 children who attended school here, mathematical tasks were based on sacks of saltpeter, since the measure of all things here was the salt of the desert, the white gold which fathers, brothers, and husbands mined all their lives. How quickly youth gave way to old age with its memories. When it became possible to manufacture synthetic saltpeter more profitably, the white gold lost its luster, and the salitrera was shut down. The workforce had no option but to move out. Humberstone became an industrial ruin in the desert. Today, the ruin can be visited. UNESCO has declared the Salitrera part of the world's heritage. Humberstone is now a museum characterized by emptiness, where people can come in search of the past and give free rein to their imagination. Is this where Laura lived, the girl with the tranquil eyes? Or did she grow up next door? Perhaps. The place is a maze of fading memories, confusing impressions for the fleeting glance of a visitor in a hurry who can't find any treasures here. Walls covered with symbols reveal little about the lives of those who once lived here. No echo of their laughter or their tears resounds from the decaying walls. Secluded corners where the young met by chance, as if by chance. Curious and hungry for adventure, Matteo and Rosario perhaps, and then didn't know what to say to each other. Pictures on the wall. Messages against oblivion, with which visitors make a futile stand against the oppressive emptiness. Scrolls which now lead a life of their own, etched into the plaster and flaking off along with the paint. Not a table, nor a chair to be seen. Not a stove, nor a bed in which parents sought love and sleep, and also awaited death. For those who had nothing, the prospect of a job in a salitrera and accommodation in one of the small houses in the factory settlement was highly tempting, even though the hours were long and the hard work was badly paid in a currency which was only valid in shops on the territory of the mine. Workers had no hope of ever owning anything through their labors. Everything that now lies around, rusting and rotting, belonged to those who ran the mine. In the creaking, groaning sounds of rusting metal, the music of decay, we seem to hear the voice of protest which the workers raised in 1907 against their exploitation. They demonstrated for better working and living conditions, but the entrepreneurs had an alliance with the government. The state sent troops who opened fire on the protesters. The bloodbath claimed more than 2,000 lives. The center of power at the Salitrera, the administration building. Like a huge black avalanche, the slag heap of waste from saltpeter processing has crept towards the veranda's elegant balustrade. Here, well above ground level, employees of higher rank were able to relax at the end of the day. However, office staff could only enter the dining rooms in the evening if they were wearing a tailor-made black suit, bow tie and gloves. The ladies had to dress in white. Somewhat to one side, but always in view, are the saltpeter plant's production sheds, the smelting furnace for the white gold, the booty from exploiting the land and the workforce. The entrance to the House of Pain. This was once the Saltpeter's hospital. A realm of shades that exerts a strange fascination. Is it perhaps the thought that this was the interface between the beginning and the end? A place characterized by the throes of childbirth and the pangs of death? With a few high windows providing the only light, this winding complex seems like a pale Hades. Signs of life. Can they be deciphered? This is where my mother was born, perhaps. Or this is where I was born. So many beginnings. So many lives that have passed. Family chronicles, lists of names. Naturally, pain was alleviated here. In the operating theatre, surgeons tried to repair damaged bodies. Death and diversion. Like every other commodity, a ticket to the dream world of the spruce wood theatre was bought with factory money, the currency that was only valid on the mine territory. Unreal money for unreal worlds, for a brief respite from harsh reality. The auditorium remains empty. The curtain has fallen for all time on the sentimental plays. The celluloid film images too ceased to flicker long ago. But on the stage, memories persist. Searching for traces of past life in a ghost town. A brief episode of industrial history on a busy desert road through the Chilean Pampa.